Across the province, surging prices for building materials, supply chain disruptions, and worker shortages are leaving a number of infrastructure projects delayed, scaled down, or cancelled altogether. Many of the projects were approved more than a year ago under a federal-provincial agreement. But now, the projects are facing high inflation, and municipalities are the ones on the hook for cost overruns. Randy Goulden is the president of the Saskatchewan Urban Municipalities Association and joins me now from Yorkton. Thanks for being here.
It's a pleasure.
Randy, how significant are these cost overruns for towns and cities?
Well, as we talk with our members, and SUMA represents towns and villages and cities, resort villages, northern municipalities, which make up 80% of Saskatchewan's population, we're hearing significant cost overruns that really provide issues for our communities that cannot run deficits in their budget. That's legislated. So there are significant issues that we're facing.
So, what are some communities doing as a result of those higher costs?
They're finding innovative and interesting ways to either continue with the projects or phase them in to make them just a little more accessible for their communities. We're hearing that some have, as I said, phased in. Unfortunately, some have decided not to proceed. Others have increased mill rates, which is increase in taxes. And I've heard some that have had to go and borrow money to finish the projects.
What are a couple examples of projects that have maybe been canceled or scaled down?
I know that the town of Churchbridge, for their water treatment facility, which included reverse osmosis, they had to take out a loan. And I'm hearing from a few that they've had to cancel them for the present time, which is quite concerning because they may not be approved for the next time.
So, what have the provincial and federal government said about this?
And it's unfortunate because when those ISIP grants were approved, and they're tri-party, so federal, provincial, and municipal, the municipalities sign an agreement. And once that agreement is signed, and in it, it says that the municipalities will be responsible for any cost overruns, then that is it. That's a contract that's binding, and there's no other funding available to those municipalities.
So, what do you want to see or hope to see done now?
Well, there are several things that I think we would suggest that the other orders of government look at. Perhaps, municipalities should be at the table when these things are being planned, so we can bring some of the concerns, some of the suggestions. The other thing that I'm hearing from municipalities, the village of Torquay with their potable water facility, they were approved at $1.86 million. They are now sitting at 2.2 million for the project. $100,000 of that is the PST that was added to construction projects by the provincial government. So perhaps that 6% that has been now added to those construction projects, we could go back to having, not having that on our projects. We do get through revenue sharing 0.75% for revenue sharing from PST, but that does not compare with 6% that's now added to multi-million-dollar projects.
No kidding. Well, Randy, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. It was a great pleasure.
Randy Goulden is the president of the Saskatchewan Urban Municipalities Association.